meeting of the Board of Trustees of Marlin Independent School District held April 29th, beginning at 12 p.m. in the Marlin Middle School Library. The subjects we will discuss or consider, or upon which any formal action may be taken or listed on the agenda. Items do not have to be taken in the same order as shown on this meeting notice. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. Roll call. Berlene?
Here, present.
And Coach? Present. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a short moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. 52 years ago, they taught us the Pledge of Allegiance in first grade and said, no, you don't say I pledge of allegiance. And 52 years ago, it cropped back up and I did it anyway. I hope you all didn't hear that. I apologize for that. No public comments, I understand, correct? Okay. Then let's do the update on school breakfast and daily lunch and daily and weekly lunches.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all the staff, the food service, bus drivers, administrative staff, and everyone that came out to help us serve breakfast and lunch to all of our kids. For the month of March, we served 2,415 meals. For the month of April, we have a total of 4,591. So thank goodness we have that increase. We have a total for the 2 months combined of 7,000 meals that we've given out thus far. Any questions?
That's great.
How many locations, offhand? How many locations did you?
We had the buses going out, and we also we were giving them out here at the middle school and the elementary.
Okay. And buses?
Total 7,006.
No, for March.
For March? For March, it was 2,415.
Because that was just part of a month, really.
About half a month.
It was only like 2 weeks.
And there are roughly 250 meals a day that go out via bus. We now just
270, that's included.
we now pass them out on Monday because we can pass the whole week at once. So we're only driving the route once instead of 5 times, which we originally had to do.
Okay. School insurance.
Pat, that's you
Is
again.
that you too, Pat? School insurance?
As we know, we signed with National American Solutions. We have a 3-year contract. Our insurance agent, who is Richard Bass, sent me an email basically stating that with some changes that's coming on with the vital stability of property insurance market being continued to go up on the rise, if there's a 10% increase, we can go out for open bids, but he's hoping there's not, but he's just giving us an option that if there's a 10% or more increase in our policy, that we can go out, we can open it up for bids.
And when does that renew?
Last year, we did a 3-year contract
Okay.
with National
So
American
the 3
Solutions.
years runs
Yes, sir.
till when?
To 2022.
2022.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions on school insurance? And
We don't need to vote or anything on that.
No,
We
ma'am.
just need
It's just information
FYI.
purposes
Okay.
only.
and the 10%, I'm just curious, is that statutory or what is
If it's 10%, it'll be 13,000 additional to what we're paying now, which is about 133,000.
Is that statutory that we're then allowed to go out for new bids? If they
Yes,
exceed
if it
that's
goes
company
if it
policy?
goes above 10%, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Then let's move on to the superintendent's update.
So we are continuing to do instructional continuity. Our status in the district is still closed with instruction. That's the technical terminology. We are giving packets every day. Teachers are calling students. They get every Monday, and they're turning them in. They have an option to pick them up or turn them in daily from the elementary side. Grades 6 through 12 are delivering the bulk of their instruction online. They have some work that they can do in the workbooks as well. Special ed has brought their materials over, and so we're incorporating those in when the students get those. Because we're doing instruction, the instructional continuity, you'll be able to see later on the agenda that we have a waiver that we're going to bring forward that allows us to recoup funding for all of the days that we are in instructional continuity, which actually are all the days since our original spring break, because they will allow us that week for planning purposes as well. And then also it brings up for us the question that's later on the agenda about grades, because working from home is not necessarily the same as working in class. Some kids are doing well online, some kids are not doing well online. Some are getting materials turned in spotty. Some haven't picked all of them up, and so we want to talk about grades. But the good news about the instructional continuity is we have in Marlin decided to continue the curriculum, and so we are teaching the same types of skills that we would be doing had they been in class. So that's our status on that point. And I'm yes, ask questions
on that. I thought I understood. Maybe I misunderstood when we bought all those Chromebooks that those were going to elementary students as well.
We have some Chromebooks for the elementary students. Part of the difficulty there was they hadn't used them a lot in instruction, and so the students were not as flexible as we were hoping they could be to get those really in place.
So are the Chromebooks in?
Yes, we have the Chromebooks in now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so we'll just start first of next year.
Yes,
with those?
yes. We've talked. Adam and I've talked long and hard to the teachers, and they're really concerned at this point that we're not getting as much as we wanted to out of those because they hadn't used them as frequently. We just didn't have a lot of access prior. So the teachers have had training or been available for training. I'm going to say this, I think with accuracy, some are good at it. Some are really struggling with it. Most of the secondary teachers have had the training and been using it more, but we have got a couple of the elementary teachers that would really struggle. Adam did a chunk of it for us, and he did it online from here. And then he and Marcus are assisting every day, either the teachers or the students who have questions. If they can't access or can't get something uploaded or don't know how to do something, they've been working through all of those problems on a regular basis with them.
Is there any way that we know that we can say we have a percentage of students that are participating in all this homework? And
yes, we're actually pulling all of that together now. We can get you probably by tomorrow, we can get you one for the electronic side. On the other one, we had some parents that didn't pick up packets at the beginning, but picked them up later and picked up 2 or 3 weeks. And so when those come in, we have to let them sit at least 72 hours because they're in plastic before we can grade. And so we're always a week behind on any kind of grading, but we can get that for you. Yes.
it would be interesting to see the participation, as I hear on the news about other schools, what their participation rates are. And so
it differs by class and it differs by grade level.
Okay.
I will tell you that, but we can certainly get that broken down for
How
you.
long will this program continue?
Well, we want to continue this until the last day of school, because if we continue this process until the last day of school in some format, then we can continue through the waiver to be funded for each of those days of school. If we stop the program, then the attestation that you and I have to sign becomes moot, and we actually forgo funding after that.
What do you think, and this is a pointless question in one sense, because it's asking you to quantify something you can't quantify. the amount of teacher-student interaction.
I will be honest with you, that differs greatly.
That's what-
That differs greatly. There,
Okay.
in some cases, there's a lot. In some cases, there's less. Sometimes it's because of the way the lessons were written. Sometimes it's because the teachers aren't quite as aggressive as some of the others. And there are teachers who have actually said they went out, like at the elementary, to try and call once a day to make sure that the kids understood what was going on. And parents have said that's too much. Don't call that often, and ask them to back off. So that very much differs. Although we do have contact logs from every teacher, so I can get that together for
You
if
do
you'd
have
like.
contact logs, okay. So,
One of the things that we were alerted to early is that possibly grade books, most likely work samples, and potentially contact logs would be things that we may need to be returning or be required to submit to TEA on the financial side to prove that we actually earn the money by
get it
teaching.
done.
So we've collected all of those.
Okay.
The second item I have right on the list is grants, and there are two grants I want you to be alerted to that are atypical. One is the school safety and security grant that we actually applied for earlier in the year, but we have an opportunity to go back to add another $8,860. I bring that to your attention because I want you to be aware of that. I'm not willing at this point, unless you tell me I need to go back and rewrite that component, since we've got a little bit more money than we originally envisioned, and without speaking to the loan finalist, because I would like to do that in conjunction with that individual. But we have a total of $25,000 now, and we'd only submitted for 16, which is a plus. The other one is that there is a grant. It was school improvement money that federal grant was federally funded, that the state thought they were going to have to return to the federal government, and they don't now. And so they were able to open the door for schools that have been receiving some funds. Initially, I understood only our elementary would get some, but I was told 2 days ago that the middle school would also have an opportunity to write for that. So again, that's going to commit summer activity, could conceivably commit summer activities. So I have taken a look at it. I have a kind of a overview in place, but I would like to wait for the loan finalist to be able to submit that grant. And then it will go retroactive again back to some of the things that we may have needed up from the spring break on.
Graduation?
I think that's is that Miss Thomas out there? I gotta put my glasses on. Yes. Miss Thomas has if she can come in, she has a plan for graduation. Actually, two options. Oh, you got them? Okay, I got them too if you didn't. That's okay. If you got them, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, yours are colored. Mine was black and white.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, before you, I have presented two proposals that we're looking at. And first, I want to let you know that.
Is it possible that you're comfortable pulling it down so we can hear you?
Is everybody okay?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's best.
Okay. I want you to know that, first of all, we're thinking about seniors and safety first, okay? And we're going to order any and all city resolutions and any social distance requirements. So when you start looking at some of our two options that we're looking at right now, I want you to think of that. We want a partnership with the school and the community to make sure we are meeting the needs of the students. Because right now, the only thing that the students have told me from the ones we're talking to is they want to walk. They want their diplomas. So these are two options that we came up with for walking. The first one, even though it says auditorium in North Lawn, because if you look at the pictures on the back, that's the school grounds, okay? So we're looking at if the seniors all park on the band side and come across the stage one at a time. They're gonna take the diploma, we're gonna shake, and they're gonna come out the other door. So if you ever look at the auditorium, you can come in one side and come out the other one, because you know they want the traditional graduation walk across the stage. And we was thinking about setting up tents and chairs in the hallway with the distance, in the front parking lot with the distancing, so they can sit there till all seniors have arrived. And then parents, we put the parking lot there because we went and counted it off. And there's enough slots for 32 cars to park, so everyone can see them when they come out, release balloons, honk horns, whatever we need to do. But that is the reason why we put auditorium and north lawn, because we're trying to set up a lot of things over just on the school grounds. Balloons, banners, whatever we need to do. I'm with the line, I know, but the line doesn't, we'll double check, because there's only one pole that's there. So I don't think if they go up with that one pole, I have to double check the line. So thank you for reminding me of that. Can I borrow a pencil so I can write this? There's one pole out in the parking lot. Okay, so that is the option. And we were also gonna give the students, letters as well as permissions, because we're trying to limit the number, because everybody wants to go in the auditorium, but due to the building, the facilities being closed, we can't do that. So that's why the only people that will come across the stage, I'll be on the stage, the council will be on the stage, one other person handing out. Where would you guys like to sit? Because we were sitting out tents and chairs outside. So do you want to participate or not?
I'd rather be part of the ceremony than
Okay.
part of the exit or entrance.
Okay.
I think.
Perfect. So we'll make sure we have that documented. So that's the school. So if you look at those pictures, and that first picture are the banners, are the lawn signs that we had already talked to a company about 2 weeks ago. So we would like to continue with that. And I was gonna ask the band booster to do the bus. I didn't bring the bus. There was a school that we saw, and they were driving through the neighborhood with a banner on both sides of the bus saying, "Class of 2020, we're proud of you." So I was gonna ask the band booster to purchase that, because we had already discussed lawn signs with the seniors on it. Because some seniors are telling us they don't want their pictures out there. So that's why we're trying to make sure FERPA is being met, and what do they want. So that's why we was trying to go with the lawn signs, because we was in touch with the seniors. Option number 2.
Yeah, may I ask-
Go
Go ahead.
Some of the students don't want their pictures out
Yes,
here.
sir. Some of the students don't want their pictures, but we, like one I spoke to in HEB yesterday, I'm like, I want you to be part of your senior class. And if the majority of them gonna let us line up our driveway with pictures, I told them let us, and I said, and plus we tried to let them know it's an incentive and it's a souvenir. So when you wanna take your souvenir and place it in your own yard. So I'm kind of convincing them to let us go ahead and get all senior pictures and all senior lawn signs.
It's not like it's gonna stay there.
No,
so-
ma'am, no, because I said, I told them, I said, even if I have to put them out every Friday so we can decorate, I will go collect them and put them back out. Because some was saying, well, what if somebody steal it? What if somebody vandalize it? We just think about doing things as a whole. So I told them, if I have to put them out and line up, our driveway, if I have to line them up so everybody can see them, and hoo-ha for the senior class, and if I have to collect them.
This coming down the travel.
That's not ours, but that's what ours look like.
That's what it looks.
Yes, sir, that's what ours would look like. Like you see where our sign is on the street, we were gonna put class of 2020, we love you, and then we were gonna line up on each side of our driveway, those,
And they're
lawn
concerned that
signs.
someone would come out there and draw.
yeah, someone was concerned that they would be vandalized or somebody would steal my picture, and that's why I told them, I said, I'll put them out and monitor, and then I'll collect. It's just 42 kids, so
How
I don't have
often?
any problem.
I mean, is this the day of the graduation or?
I want to do it sooner than that. The company told us if we get them ordered, they can get them to us in 3 days. So that's why I wanted to start putting them out, just to do a hoorah to my
People see
seniors.
them
Yes, sir.
every day
Yes, sir.
before graduation.
So no matter what, I want to do the lawn signs. We're going to order those. And whether I have to put them out and pick them up, I want to do something for the seniors. And like I said, their incentive is at the end, you get to take it with you.
Yeah.
So that's a souvenir for them.
I want to make sure I understand one more time.
Yes,
They're
sir.
going to line up outside the band hall?
Yes, sir.
Outside.
They can park, they're gonna park in their cars on the band side, and we're gonna go alphabetical order. So you only get out when your name is called. So that way we have our distancing, you only get out when your name is called, and it's one at a time, crossing the stage. We would live stream it, so that way anybody outside, because I asked Adam if we get screens outside, so you can still see them crossing the stage. You can live stream it and see them crossing the stage. So it's not like you're gonna lose out for not being in the
And
auditorium.
did they then go and?
And then they
sit
exit
in?
out, and then we'll space out the seats where you can come out and sit when you come out. So you're not leaving, because at first we thought, let them cross the bridge, which is gonna be decorated, and go sit in the car with their families. Then we thought about those that might drive off. So we said, no, all of them gonna stay together, and we have them spaced out nice and neat. And then they get the opportunity to throw the
Throw
caps
the
or
hat.
whatever at the end. Yes, sir.
And shaking hands?
Well, I have gloves. I know we
Are you-
can't,
you
but you
intend to
know,
do
are
the-
we a high five or something? Well, we can't touch, gotta keep
Arm
the,
bound.
So we have
you know, me, I
gloves,
still-
everybody gonna have gloves on.
we'll pass out masks and gloves, yes, sir.
Okay.
But I'm gonna touch my kids, I'm sorry. I gotta do something on this stage.
Do you,
Something.
I'm asking, do you, and we've done it in the past, I think they have filed past the board members and we've all shaken hands as well. So I don't want to offend anybody by offering to shake their hand, but I'd
Right,
be happy
right.
to shake their hand.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes, sir.
got gloves for you.
As long as we have gloves on, I thought we was okay.
Okay.
So,
Fewer board members than ever.
Pardon?
Fewer board members than ever, you know.
That's true. We cut the chances by half, 40% or 60%, whatever it is. Okay. I'm
So
sorry.
that's the
Go ahead with it.
auditorium.
Okay.
now the football field, because there was more space, that's the only reason why we thought about the football field, because we already want to symbolize by turning on the coaches want to turn on the lights, in recognition of the seniors anyway. So then when someone mentioned the football field, we said, well, let's look at alternative for the football field, because the only problem we felt was the home side, because we can't prevent anybody from coming on the home side, but we have the gated visitor side. But then we start thinking about the seniors going A through L being on one side and M through Z being on the other side with a pass set in the car. When we had our meeting, they would get that was gonna be their ticket. Which family members or which family car were you using? Which one were you coming in? So you was gonna get your little sign to limit it once again. But if the parents, we were gonna limit it to 2. The parent or guardian sit in the stands, M to Z, they will have their 6 feet distance in if they're sitting in the stands. All seniors would be by the scoreboard on that end of the field spaced out. And then we could proceed on with our guest speakers, our Val and our Sals. But the only problem with the football field, like I stated, was even if we put A through L on the home side and space them out, or even put an attendant to keep anybody from coming in, we knew people would park along the fence line, on the home side, because it's so open. We know we could confine the visitor side, but we can't the home side, so.
You also have more weather to contend with
Yeah.
on the football field, because if it's rainy, it
Mhm.
ruins the whole thing.
And that's why too, I was gonna even think of a tentative date. So if there's weather, we could have a tentative date added. But once again, I want to ask the seniors, because a lot of them are already working. And I want to make sure nobody was leaving off for, college anytime soon. But we keep talking to the seniors. So if I had to do a tentative date, or even if the governor decided no graduations are happening, I want to have a tentative date, because that's the only thing they want to do is walk and get their diploma.
But currently, we're planning on the 29th.
Yes, we want to stick to the 29th if we can have the 29th. I thought maybe the high school would be a little bit more confined and we could really
It's more manageable.
dictate how it happened as opposed to the football field, but we wanted to present both proposals because some seniors want the football field and some seniors don't mind us condensing down to the auditorium. And those are my 2 proposals.
On a related option, I've had some seniors who approached me about, can we just walk the building? Because I just want to, because they just went for a weekend or spring break and they want to come back and just walk the building. And so we said, yes, we would arrange somewhere around this type of day that those who want to can come and just walk through the halls one more time.
Because we haven't even discussed baccalaureate. I don't even know if we can have that. Because, I'm just saying that's just part of the tradition where, Sunday you did. So I just thought about that last night.
And one of the comments that has come up from several people is perhaps waiting, and if we can get back in at the end of the summer, have prom at the end of the summer, because there was a conversation about that social distancing on the computer wasn't quite the same as dancing at prom.
I'm sure about.
the speeches, the 4 speakers,
Yes, sir.
they take place after the kids are seated in the auditorium?
We were still debating that. Someone suggested that we let our guest speaker speak because all the seniors selected Coach Hitchens because he started with them. So we were thinking about let the guest speaker we record him, the salute and the vow, we record both of them, and then we have it play it at some point in time for everybody to see. So we thought about that, but then, you know, they're back to the no, give them the opportunity because I just took away what the Val and Sal have been working for. They want to actually stand and speak to everyone. So that's why we thought if we could put the podium, and I had my big wood stand that band used for forever, but when I went into the band hall to retrieve it, because at least we could put the podium on it, they could go up, do their speech like, because we told them limited, 5 or 10 minutes to give them their opportunity to still do what there's a reason why they're 1 and 2. So that's why I didn't want to just videotape it. I wanted them to actually get up front, stand and speak.
Well, I think it's nice that you're taking their thoughts into it so much. I really do. I would think that the more you can do to make it seem like a real graduation ceremony, well, not a real graduation,
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean?
As normal as
A
possible.
normal graduation ceremony, then the more we could. And it seems like to me that having all those speeches done while at least the students are in the auditorium would be a big step in that direction. Y'all's choice, of course. But
Okay. Anything else from anyone? I'll make
any other questions on graduation? If not, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Thank you.
Thanks.
On the consent agenda, there are 4 items on here. Does anybody wish to have any of them separated from the rest? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is to consider and approve the monthly financial report, consider and approve the monthly check registry, consider and approve minutes of special meetings held April 23rd at 12 o'clock, special meeting at April 22nd at 12 o'clock, special meeting at April 21st at 12 o'clock, and special meeting held April 17th at 12 o'clock, and the regular board meeting held March 19th at 5:30. In addition, we'll include in the consent agenda vote, considering and approving a Marlin ISD 2021 school year calendar.
Perhaps I should say before you vote, I apologize for not including it earlier. The school calendar this year went through a calendar committee, which is different. It's more formally the way it should be. They went through a calendar committee, and then they also took the votes of all of the staff members in the district, and then also it went to site-based to be approved. So it's been approved by the 3 groups that usually have feedback in front of your consideration.
One of the things that came up in our recent meetings was HB3 has provided money for additional days in the school year. And I think all the candidates were pretty much in favor of that in some form or another. And so might we consider maybe holding off on approving the calendar until
We could, or we could approve this and then amend. And the reason I'm suggesting is because we can't start registration until we have some calendar that we can work with. And we're set up to do registration online. It's difficult for us to tell you how many teachers we need without some type of registration.
Sure.
So that was the only reason we were trying to take this part forward at this time.
On that HB3, that mostly a reading period for the extra day.
You have some flexibility with it. The other thing on the HB3, just to bring us up to date from last year a little bit, we're not bringing salary schedules like we normally would bring at this time for everybody, for like teachers and steps like that, because this year we have evaluations. So we can use, even though we don't have test scores, we now have some evaluations that we can use, because we're supposed to be staggering those HB3 raises and pieces based upon how successful you were in the classroom. Last year we had no evaluations at all for any of the elementary and others as well. And so the decision was to try and go ahead and approach the intent by adding in steps and working with the steps that you got to return so many years, that kind of thing. The real intent of that was by the success of the teacher, and we had no measure of that last year, but we do this year. So that's something that we can, with the HB3 money, also tie into these extended days and hopefully fix that better this year since we have appraisals in place. That doesn't speak to the school calendar. And it's fine if you don't take any action on that. It's just that we won't be able to register anyone until that time.
But we can make an amendment to it or
Yeah, you can
or
change it.
whatever after the fact.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? Has you everything you want to point out on any of the financial stuff? No? Okay. Everything's rocking along fine. Okay. All right.
Okay, Mr. Vice President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Oh, excuse me.
None. The vote's 3-0 to approve the consent agenda. Item 10 is discuss and take appropriate action on the resolution modifying local policies regarding grading, GPA, and class rank.
Okay, I believe you got a copy of the ISD resolution modification of policies and procedures. I believe it was in your book.
Mhm.
Let me see what page. You have your policies in front, and then I believe it was right after that. So it's page 34 and 35. So the reasons these are being brought to you today is because of what I alluded to earlier. With COVID-19, we do not have kids in classes in a regular way. And so the ones I'd really like to point out to you as significant are, it would be the fourth whereas. The board policy currently provides that local graduation honors for seniors will be determined using grades awarded as the second 6 weeks grading period, and that will continue. Different districts have addressed that, but ours is okay on that one. The next one under that is, whereas due to the inability to provide normal instruction, grades awarded as of the fourth 6 week period will be used to determine grade points and grade point averages for all students taking courses for the high school. And grades during the 5th and 6th weeks period will not count toward a student's passing grade. That's what we're asking, because normally all 6 count. And in this case, if I'm struggling with being able to do it online or not getting packets picked up, or I'm not understanding it the same way, we would like to take, for instance, like for a 3rd grader, if you were passing at the 4th 6 weeks, you get to pass and not punish them going forward on that. The next one says, whereas due to the inability to provide normal instruction, grades awarded as of the 4th 6 week period will be used in combination with work completed during the period of closure or modified operation to determine the course or grade level completion for all students. Again, that is there if you decide that, I did everything super well, and maybe my grade got better. It would not be there to necessarily say it got worse, but certainly not to, because some of our kids are very, very diligent and they're working very, very hard. And if they were sitting at a, B plus or A minus, it would be reasonable to think that they would have continued and completed all the work. So that's a piece right there that can come in.
So my question is, okay, so if we're going by the 4 6 weeks and they weren't passing.
Well, we can take a look at what's going on, and if the bulk of the work were passing, then we could take that into consideration if they were close.
Okay.
Now, if they were sitting there with a 10% or a 20%, they're probably not gonna make it, because what I'm seeing most of the time, I hate to be too general, but there is a tendency for those kids who were not passing to not be doing their work and turning it in. For those that were passing and trying to meet the top 10 and are used to doing it all the time, they are pretty good about turning it in. So there's it's not a tight correlation, but there is a correlation. The ones that we were most worried about, we're still most worried about.
So does that mean the 5th and 6th weeks count for nothing then? And if so, what incentive do they have to come and pick up packets and turn them in and all that?
Well, they don't know that because Dr. Bainey has said grades are taken and grades are counting, and you have to turn your work in. And up until today's date, they had no reason to believe anything else.
Okay.
That was something some of us had talked about, that if we spoke too soon, we thought we would just have summer all spring. But we're now getting to the place where we're going to have to put some grades on report cards. And I mean, we're looking at May right in front of us, and we're going to have to start closing the year up. And we want to make sure that we are, whatever you all think is fair for students, because grading is a local option. So you can pretty much do what you want.
Would it be just a nightmare to offer some sort of, I don't know, I'm just going to call it extra credit for work done during the 5th and 6th weeks? Say somebody is on that cusp, like Berlene's talking about, where she's just not quite there, but she's nearly passing. She can put a little extra effort into the 5th and 6th weeks, and then let the teacher assign some sort of subjective.
Sir. Yes. Well, really, what the vision was is if they were closed and they keep working, they're not going to get that bump, because they're still working and they're still putting forth the effort. If they were not close and they quit, well, then we don't want to fail them even further. We just want to kind of leave it where it was. You do have had a practice in Marlin. Like the elementary teachers tell me they were never allowed to give anything less than a 60. I have a really hard time putting a 60 down as our preliminary grades if no work is coming in. So I've told them right now, put only the grades that they are truly earning. And then after this discussion with you all, then we can say, okay, were you truly getting a 60? So we're going to say you're still kind of working on stuff, or were you just not turning anything in? And that 60 has been a placeholder in the past. That I understand why some districts have done that. That's not necessarily, that's really not conducive for me doing my best work, but that's what's been in place in Marlin prior. Down at the bottom of the page, for instance, to come back to where you were, Mr. Vickers, again, the second to the bottom says, a teacher will determine whether the student has mastered the objective. And so that will work with that information, like you said, for the teacher to take that into consideration. The last one on this front page talks about this is one time only. It's not to be continued or assumed to be continued in any way. And so the 6 points on the back of the page are really what you would resolve if you so choose, or which of those you might want to actually choose.
I don't know if I missed it or not. Have we sent a grade out for them for the 5th, 6th?
Not exactly. They've gotten some feedback as to where they are, but we haven't given a formal report card grade. Right. Now, some teachers have kind of said this would be your grade, but as far as formally like that, no. We have to grade them in some fashion because we have to by law. But the high school went ahead and sent like the progress reports out the way they would have done, because they felt they were getting, at least at the beginning, they were getting enough grades in related to online. Elementary, we did not. We assumed everyone was passing, so we didn't send any delinquent notes because we couldn't even touch those packets that came in until after our due date to send that out. So we did not fail them, or we just kind of said at that, like that 3-week period that I guess you're okay. Pardon? Middle school was doing what the high school did. They kind of gave some feedback based upon where they thought they were grade-wise with electronic in it.
And you think there's anybody out there, is there any way that anybody's impacted negatively in their pursuit of maybe acceptance to some higher education?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think everybody's pretty much aware of it. And I am on some group meetings with about, I don't know, hundreds of superintendents, and they're all doing something very
Something like
similar
this,
to this. And
You have, that number 5 is kind of a catch-all anyway, right?
yeah. And I think that when we go back to the idea, one of the big stumbling blocks for districts was on that 4th one. Some of them stated that grade rank and those kinds of things didn't happen until the 6 weeks, and and so they were like really struggling. Some of them said, no, we're going to take grades from the first semester. And so this is kind of where most people are related to being able to juggle what you're talking about, what's fair and what's reasonable for the student without punishing them. And I do believe the universities, I don't have it with me today, but they've made some statements about waiving some of the grade requirements that would be obtained during COVID-19. This will have an impact, or could indeed have an impact on some of our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, because if they were failing and didn't do any work, well, that's a course they're probably gonna have to repeat. If they were a low C and didn't do much work, well, that's a C they get, as opposed, and so this also could conceivably impact some of those freshmen, sophomores, and juniors when they get to be seniors and are looking at what my options are.
But even so, those same students have this fifth and sixth 6-week period to bring those failing scores up.
Yep.
They have an opportunity at
Yep.
least.
Yep.
You know, maybe not an ideal one, but
Yep,
at least an
they do.
opportunity. Okay.
And it's not that they don't all have that opportunity.
Everyone has that opportunity.
That's why, I mean, it's not like we're just going to work with these.
No, everyone has that opportunity.
Any other questions on item 10?
No.
If not, what's your pleasure?
Okay, I move that we take action on the resolution as presented to us regarding grading GPA and class rank.
Moved and seconded that we approve the proposal presented, or the presentation for modifying local policies regarding grading GPA and class rank. That's policies EIA, EIC, and EIE. All in favor, say aye.
I
All opposed, say nay. There being none, there's a 3-0 vote in favor. We'll move on to item 11, which is consider and approve the memorandum of understanding with Marlin ISD and MCC.
That's something that technically, as the interim superintendent, I could have just signed for you, but I wanted you to see that it's the same as we've had in the past. There's no major change, but my understanding has been that you would want to go ahead and do that, and I just wanted you to see that it was coming forth in place.
Good.
So I guess
need to
it's
do that.
listed as approved, but
yes, but I meant, well, this is what we look
Yes.
like in the past.
yes.
Okay.
The only change is the name on it, which they will change when we have a different name or not. I guess the signature will last all the year, but it's the same thing.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the MOU between Marlin ISD and McLennan Community College.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the memorandum of understanding with MCC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Being none, with 3-0 vote in favor of the motion on number 11. We're going to skip number 12 as requested and go to 13, consider and approve the 2019-2020 missed school day waiver.
Okay, so this is the waiver I alluded to earlier that has gone through site-based. As Mr. Terry put it in one of the other meetings so bluntly, if we approve or if we approve this requested waiver, then we will get the money coming into the district that will definitely pay us. If we don't request, because we are technically closed with instruction, if we don't request this particular waiver, which is being done by every district in the state, then we are forgoing state money from the time of our spring break forward. So it has been shared with the district site-based committee, and when we actually got the correct committee in place, it was unanimously approved to apply for the waiver.
Okay. So number 13, we want a move that we approve the missed school day waiver. Is that what it's
We
called?
apply for it. Mhm.
We apply for it, or whatever. Excuse me.
Yep.
And you seconded, Billy? Moved and seconded that we approve the waiver. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And no opposition, so the motion passes. We're going into closed session. Do you want me to read all of this? Happy to if you need me to.
Yeah, I guess we do.
Or do we just say in general that we're going into closed session to pursuant to
When you come out, you're going to have to say
pursuant
it
to
again.
Texas Government Code 551.074 for consideration of employee contracts. To discuss and take appropriate action on the resolution expanding the juvenile case manager program. This was pursuant to 551.071 and consultation with the attorney. To discuss and take appropriate action on a resolution expanding the juvenile case manager program to include the elementary school and providing for an additional juvenile case manager position, including salary and benefits for the same. Again, pursuant to 551.071. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 for the purpose of deliberating regarding the proposed reduction in force, and pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.129 for the purposes of legal consultation regarding the proposed reduction in force and any other subject matter as permitted by law. And finally, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 to consider and approve the loan finalist for the superintendent's position. It is that 141, 147? We're going to go into closed session and
Did you say 12:47?
is it 12? I'm sorry. Gosh, I
It's
can't
got
see
a
that.
1 in it.
12:47. Excuse me.
A 1 and a 2 vote.
Yeah.
Resolution expanding the juvenile case manager program to include Marlin Elementary School and providing for an additional juvenile case manager position, including salary and benefits for the same.
Mr. President, I move that we table these items until next month.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Motion's been made and seconded to table that item. We will vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. Motion is tabled until next month, next meeting. The next items on the back of that page, discuss and take appropriate action on resolution adopting rules pertaining to the juvenile case manager program to require students with the facilitation of their parents to participate in and complete prevention and intervention services, to require parents of students to participate in and complete prevention and intervention services, again, to provide for criminal prosecution for violations of the same, and to authorize development of any regulations and procedures to carry out rules adopted by the resolution. Is there a motion?
Table. No,
Is it-
mm-mm,
I
it's
lost my-
table again.
I move that we table that until a later date, please.
And a second,
Second.
motion's been made and
Track of
seconded that we
what you were
tabled that
I'm looking for this.
portion of the agenda as well.
That's next.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Consider and take possible action to declare the need for a program change resulting in a reduction in force.
I move to approve a program change at central office to eliminate the position of assistant superintendent, and a further move to direct the interim superintendent to take all steps necessary to effectuate this change.
I'd like to note that that encompasses the next item as well, because you identified the employment area to be affected.
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
okay with you all? All right.
Sorry about
Um,
that. I jumped the gun.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Being none, that motion carries as well. Finally, consider and approve the loan finalist for the superintendent's position. That person was Dr.
Daryl Henson.
Henson, excuse me,
Henson.
from Cedar Hill, I
From
believe.
Cedar Hill,
Um,
ISD.
Looking forward to working with him and
Okay. I move that we name Dr. Daryl Henson as the loan finalist.
been moved,
Second.
and there's a second. Any further discussion on that item? If not, then we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? There being none, the vote's 3-0 for Dr. Henson's, to offer Dr. Henson a contract. Being no other items on the agenda, we're going to adjourn, but I want to once again thank Dr. Vaney for her time here and what time she has left here to finish as much of the work that she started as just humanly possible, and I know she'll do that, so appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Any other business? If not, we're adjourned.